I found my sister's grave in our backyard. My sister was standing next to me when I found it. My twin sister Emily and I decided to surprise our mom for Mother's Day by fixing up her rose garden while she was at work. She always told us to stay out because we'd trample her flowers, but she'd been complaining lately about not having time to weed it, so we figured she'd be thrilled. We were very, very wrong. We worked for about an hour pulling weeds and cutting back dead growth while the sun beat down on us and dirt got caked under our fingernails, and Emily kept complaining that the roses weren't even that nice, and she didn't understand why mom was so obsessed with this garden when half the bushes looked half dead anyway. I moved to a bare patch in the back corner where nothing seemed to grow and started raking away the dead leaves. My rake caught on something flat and hard, and I knelt down slowly expecting a paver or stepping stone. There was a photo embedded in the stone surface, faded and weathered but still clear enough to make out. Emily's face stared back at me. Below the photo it read E. Lowell with our birth year, and then another date 4 years later. I called Emily over and she laughed at first, but when she got closer and saw her own face looking up from what was clearly a grave marker, she stopped laughing. We started digging next to the stone because we needed to know what else was down there. A foot down my shovel hit metal and I pulled out a rusted box and pried it open with shaking hands. Inside was a lock of blonde hair tied with a faded ribbon the exact same shade as ours, a tiny white dress with yellow flowers sized for a toddler, and a hospital bracelet so old the text had almost worn away except for the date, which was the day we were born. Photos at the bottom showed a newborn in a hospital bassinet, a toddler wearing that same yellow dress standing in front of our house, a little girl around 3 years old sitting in our living room with toys I'd never seen, Emily's face in every single photo, but she kept shaking her head saying, "I've never seen these. I've never worn that dress." I noticed our dad's old truck in the background of one picture, the one he sold when we were 5, which meant these photos were real and old and impossible. Emily grabbed my arm so hard her nails dug into my skin. "We need to stop. Cover this back up. Pretend we never found any of it." I was already digging again because we had to know. 2 feet down, neither of us was talking anymore. 3 feet down, my shovel made a sound that turned my stomach and I dropped to my knees and started brushing dirt away with my hands. Emily begged me to stop. Small bones appeared in the dark soil, then a rib cage, then a skull far too small to belong to an adult. Emily screamed so loud the neighbors probably heard, and she scrambled backward until her back hit the fence. I was frozen there on my knees with dirt caked under my fingernails, staring at the skeleton of a child buried under a marker with my sister's face on it. Neither of us moved. Neither of us knew what to do. Emily was gasping and shaking and whimpering, "That's not me," over and over like saying it enough times would make it true. A shadow fell across the grave. Mom was standing right behind us in her work clothes with her purse over her shoulder. Her face was completely blank as she looked down at the bones. "I told you girls to stay out of my garden." Emily's voice came out high and shaky. "We were trying to surprise you. We're so sorry." Mom didn't even glance at her. She walked to the edge of the hole and stared at the skeleton for a long moment. Her name was Elizabeth. Emily made a choking sound. I felt my whole body go cold. Mom's voice was soft now. She was very sick. Something in my chest loosened just a little. Elizabeth was sick. She died young and our parents buried her here. It was devastating, but it made sense. Then Mom looked up at us. "We couldn't have people asking questions about our family. Your father and I gave her peace." The words took a second to register. Then Emily shrieked and bolted for the back door. Mom's hand shot out and grabbed her wrist and yanked her backwards so hard Emily nearly fell. Her voice was different now. "I really wish you had just listened to me." Emily was crying and struggling and I grabbed the shovel. "Let her go." Mom looked at me and something shifted behind her eyes. "There's plenty of room in this garden." Emily screamed and ripped her arm free and ran for the house. I swung the shovel as hard as I could into Mom's shoulder and she went down into the roses. I sprinted for the back door and got inside and locked it behind me just as Mom slammed into the glass. She wasn't screaming. She was just watching us through the window. Emily called 911 from the bathroom while I stood there staring at the woman who killed our triplet, pressing her palm flat against the glass like she was trying to reach through it.